The history of remote viewing. Remote viewing, also known as remote perception or RV, is a form of extrasensory perception, ESP, in which an individual is able to perceive and describe events, objects, or information that are not physically present in their immediate environment. The history of remote viewing is a fascinating one that can be traced back to the 1970s when the United States government began to investigate the potential use of psychic abilities for military and intelligence purposes. The origins of remote viewing can be traced back to the early 1900s when psychical researchers began to investigate the phenomenon of clairvoyance, which is the ability to see or perceive events that are not physically present. However, it wasn't until the 1970s that the United States government began to take an interest in remote viewing and its potential use for military and intelligence purposes. The first formal government-sponsored research on remote viewing was conducted by the Stanford Research Institute, SRI, under the direction of Russell Targ and Harold Puthoff. This research, which was funded by the CIA, focused on the ability of an individual to see and accurately describe remote locations and objects. The results of this research were promising, with several individuals showing a high degree of accuracy in their remote viewing descriptions. In the early days of remote viewing research, the focus was on the individual's ability to perceive and describe remote locations and objects. However, as the research progressed, it became clear that remote viewing could also be used for a wide range of other applications, including intelligence gathering, medical diagnosis, and even crime solving. One of the key figures in the early days of remote viewing was Ingo Swann, a psychic who was recruited to participate in the research at SRI. Swann was a skilled remote viewer and played a key role in the development of the protocols and techniques that are still used today. He later went on to develop his own remote viewing training program and became one of the most respected figures in the field. In the 1980s, the U.S. Army began to investigate the use of remote viewing for intelligence gathering. The program, known as the Stargate Project, was led by Ingo Swann and was highly classified. The program operated for more than 20 years and involved the participation of several U.S. Army personnel and civilians with psychic abilities. The Stargate Project was a highly secretive program and the details of its operations at the time were not public. Now thousands of documents are available made public through FOIA request. The program was used to gather intelligence on a wide range of targets, including foreign governments, terrorist organizations, and even UFOs. The program was reportedly successful and provided valuable information to the U.S. government. However, the program was not without controversy. Critics argued that the results of remote viewing experiments were often open to interpretation and could be explained by chance or the use of cleverly worded cues. Additionally, some scientists argued that the claims of remote viewing were not supported by scientific evidence. Despite the criticisms, the field of remote viewing continued to attract interest and research. In recent years, there have been several studies that have provided some support for the validity of remote viewing, including studies on the brain activity of remote viewers and the use of remote viewing in the field of archaeology. One of the most interesting and controversial applications of remote viewing is its use in archaeology. In the early 2000s, a team of remote viewers led by archaeologist Dr. Stephanie Schwartz set out to remotely view ancient sites in Egypt and Peru. The team was able to provide detailed descriptions of the sites, including the layout of the buildings and the location of artifacts. The descriptions were later verified to be highly accurate when the team visited the sites in person. Another notable application of remote viewing is in the field of medicine. In recent years, there have been several studies that have explored the use of remote viewing in medical diagnosis. These studies have shown that remote viewers can accurately describe the symptoms and conditions of patients, even when they are not physically present. This has led to the development of remote viewing-based diagnostic tools, which have the potential to revolutionize the way that medicine is practiced. Despite the growing body of research that supports the validity of remote viewing, the field remains controversial. Many critics today still dispute remote viewing on the same basis as in earlier days. Some scientists still argue that the claims of remote viewing are not supported by scientific evidence. Though some scientists and researchers believe that remote viewing has the potential to provide valuable insights into the nature of reality and the capabilities of the human mind. Additionally, the practical applications of remote viewing, such as in intelligence gathering and medical diagnosis, are further reasons for the continued research in the field. In conclusion, remote viewing is a complex and controversial field that has a long and intriguing history. The government-sponsored research in the 1970s and 1980s, and the formation of private remote viewing schools and training programs, have shown promising results in the field. However, The field remains controversial and more research is needed to fully understand the capabilities and limitations of remote viewing. The history of remote viewing is a fascinating one that continues to be explored by many researchers and scientists, and it remains an intriguing area of study for those interested in the possibilities of the human mind. Thanks for watching. For more, listen to the Not Top Secret podcast or read the blog located at nottopsecret.com.